The message opens. Thinking of you. 3 words. Harmless in a vacuum. Nuclear in context. The cheater types back. Can't sleep. Wish I was there. Send. The message flies through the ether. And in that moment, the person in the bed next to them ceases to exist. This is not an accident. You do not accidentally unlock your phone. You do not accidentally open an encrypted messaging app. You do not accidentally type a sentence that dismantles your vows. You make a choice, and then another choice, and then another. Cheating is a sequence of thousands of tiny permissions you give yourself. Permission to look. Permission to fantasize. Permission to flirt. Permission to touch.
Permission to lie about where you were. Permission to delete the history. It is a cascading failure of integrity, but it is a controlled failure. It is a demolition. Now let's talk about the gaslighting, because the pattern doesn't just stay in the cheater's head. It leaks out. It poisons the environment. The partner starts to notice. Humans are intuitive animals. We know when the energy in a room
Fade in. Darkness. Absolute, suffocating darkness. Then, a sound. Not a crash, not a scream, but a vibration. A low, rhythmic hum against a wooden nightstand. Cut to a sliver of light, blue, artificial. It cuts across the darkness like a scalpel. It illuminates a hand reaching out from under a duvet. The hand hesitates, just for a second. The thumb hovers over the screen. This is the moment. This right here. This is the ignition point. We like to tell ourselves stories about accidents. We love the word accident. It absolves us. It washes away intent. An accident is a car sliding on black ice. An accident is a glass slipping from wet fingers and shattering on the kitchen floor. Gravity takes over. Physics takes the wheel. You are a passenger in your own disaster. But this hand reaching for the phone at 2 a.m. while a partner sleeps 3 inches away. This is not gravity. This is not physics. This is architecture. Welcome to the anatomy of betrayal. We are going to spend the next 2.5 hours dismantling the greatest lie ever told in the landscape of modern relationships. The lie that cheating is a mistake. It is not a mistake. It is a construction project. It is a pattern. And like any pattern, it has a blueprint, a foundation, and a series of load-bearing walls that are erected in the silence of the mind long before a single piece of clothing hits the floor. Let's look at that hand again. Freeze the frame. The thumb is hovering. Why is the phone there? Why is the notification silent? Why is the screen brightness turned all the way down? These are not accidents. These are logistics. This is the result of 1,000 micro-calculations made over weeks, months, maybe years. To understand the cheater, we have to stop looking at the sex. The sex is the least interesting part of the equation. The sex is just a ribbon-cutting ceremony on a building that has been under construction for a very long time. We need to look at the excavation. Imagine the human mind as a house. A nice house. A house you share with someone you promise to love. There are rooms for memories, rooms for shared finances, rooms for future plans. But there is a basement. And in that basement, there is a door that is usually locked. Behind that door is the ego. The raw, hungry, validation-seeking ego. In a healthy relationship, we visit the basement occasionally. We acknowledge the ego, but we don't live there. The cheater, however, starts moving furniture in. It starts with a feeling, the low-level hum of dissatisfaction. Maybe it's boredom. Maybe it's insecurity. Maybe it's the terrifying realization that you are just an ordinary person living an ordinary life. And that is where the first justification is born. The seed. I deserve more.
Listen to that phrase, rolling around in the subconscious. I deserve more. It's not I want more. Wanting is active. Wanting implies you have to do something to get it. Deserving is passive. Deserving implies that the universe or your partner owes you something. It turns you from a participant into a victim, and victims are allowed to break the rules. Victims are allowed to survive by any means necessary. So the pattern begins not with a stranger, but with a rewrite of history. The cheater looks at their partner across the dinner table. The partner is chewing loudly, or talking about the electric bill, or simply looking tired. And the cheater doesn't see a human being anymore. They see an obstacle. They see a jailer. They don't appreciate me, the internal narrator whispers. They don't see the real me. They've let themselves go. They've let us go. This is the first step of the pattern, devaluation. You cannot betray someone you fully respect. It's psychologically impossible. The cognitive dissonance would crush you. So before you can cheat, you must lower the value of the person you are cheating on. You have to shrink them. You have to turn them into a caricature of a nag, a bore, or a roommate. You have to strip away their complexity until they are just a background character in the movie of your life. Now, let's move to the environment, the workplace, the gym, the internet. Enter the accomplice. Not the affair partner, not yet. The accomplice is the opportunity. It's the coworker who laughs a little too hard at your jokes. It's the old flame who likes a photo from 3 years ago. It's the stranger at the bar who holds eye contact for 2 seconds longer than is polite. A faithful person notices these things and categorizes them as flattery or noise. They might feel a little ping of vanity, but they file it away and go home. The person in the pattern, they don't file it away. They grab it with both hands. They feed on it. This brings us to the second phase of the pattern, the boundary shift. People think boundaries are walls. They aren't. They are lines in the sand. And lines in the sand can be kicked away, scuffed out, and redrawn. The cheater doesn't jump the fence. They move the fence, inch by inch. It's just lunch, they say. We're just colleagues. It's just a text, they say. I'm just being friendly. It's just venting, they say. My partner doesn't understand me, but this person does. Do you see the linguistic pattern? Just, the most dangerous word in the English language. Just is a minimizing tool. It shrinks the magnitude of the action. It makes the betrayal small enough to fit in your pocket.
Let's zoom in on the venting. This is the critical juncture. This is where the emotional affair takes root. You take a grievance about your relationship, something private, something intimate, and you hand it to a third party. You are exporting the intimacy of your marriage to an outsider. You are building a coalition against your partner. And it feels good. God, it feels good. It feels like being seen. It feels like validation. The dopamine hits the brain like a sledgehammer. And suddenly, the text message isn't just text on a screen. It's a drug. Now, we have to talk about the biology of the secret, because the secret is the fuel. When you hide something, your body reacts. Adrenaline, cortisol, your heart rate elevates, your senses sharpen. In the wild, this is the response to a predator. But in the modern world, in the context of an affair, this biological arousal gets misattributed. You mistake the fear of getting caught for the thrill of passion. You think you are falling in love, but really, you are just high on the anxiety of deception. The pattern requires maintenance. This is where the justification engine kicks into high gear. The cheater is now living 2 lives. There is the domestic life, which is painted in grayscale. It is bills and chores and obligations. And then there is the secret life, which is technicolor. It is fantasy. It is potential. But to keep these 2 worlds from colliding, the cheater must become a master of compartmentalization. They build a wall in their mind. On one side, I am a good father, a good mother, a provider. On the other side, I am a sexual being who has needs that aren't being met. They never let the 2 sides meet, because if they met, the cheater would have to admit that they are a liar, and the ego cannot survive that admission. So they lie to themselves first. I'm doing this to save the marriage, they might think. If I get my needs met elsewhere, I won't be so resentful at home. Look at the gymnastics required for that thought. Look at the contortion. They frame the betrayal as an act of mercy. This is the height of the pattern. This is where the cheater becomes the hero of their own tragedy. Let's go back to the phone in the dark. The thumb presses the screen. The message opens. Thinking of you. 3 words. Harmless in a vacuum. Nuclear in context. The cheater types back. Can't sleep. Wish I was there. Send. The message flies through the ether. And in that moment, the person in the bed next to them ceases to exist. This is not an accident. You do not accidentally unlock your phone. You do not accidentally open an encrypted messaging app. You do not accidentally type a sentence that dismantles your vows. You make a choice, and then another choice, and then another. Cheating is a sequence of thousands of tiny permissions you give yourself. Permission to look. Permission to fantasize. Permission to flirt. Permission to touch. Permission to lie about where you were. Permission to delete the history. It is a cascading failure of integrity, but it is a controlled failure. It is a demolition. Now let's talk about the gaslighting, because the pattern doesn't just stay in the cheater's head. It leaks out. It poisons the environment. The partner starts to notice. Humans are intuitive animals. We know when the energy in a room shifts. We know when someone is physically present but emotionally absent. Is something wrong? The partner asks. You're crazy, the cheater replies. You're being paranoid. Why are you always so jealous? This is the weaponization of the partner's trust. The cheater uses the partner's love against them. If you love me, you'll trust me. If you question me, you are the problem. This is the cruelest part of the pattern. To cover the crime, the cheater must destroy the reality of the witness. They have to make the partner doubt their own eyes, their own gut, their own sanity. It is psychological violence, and it is calculated. It is a defense mechanism designed to protect the secret life at all costs. Why do they do it? Why do they learn to justify it? Because the alternative is facing the void.
The alternative is looking in the mirror and seeing a person who is capable of profound selfishness. The alternative is doing the hard, painful work of either fixing the relationship or ending it with dignity. Ending a relationship requires courage. It requires you to be the bad guy. It requires you to cause pain openly. Cheating is the coward's exit. It is a way to leave the relationship without actually leaving. It is a way to audition a new life while keeping the safety net of the old one. It is hedging your bets with human hearts. But the pattern is a trap. The high wears off. The affair partner, once the shimmering symbol of perfection, becomes a real person. They have demands. They have bad breath. They have baggage. The technicolor starts to fade. The dopamine drops. And now the cheater is left with the wreckage. They stand in the rubble of the trust they destroyed. And usually, their reaction is not remorse. Not at first. It is grief. But not grief for what they did to their partner. Grief for what they lost. Grief for the fantasy. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. They sob. But we know better now, don't we? We have watched the footage. We have seen the blueprints. We have tracked the construction of the lies. We know that I didn't mean to actually means I didn't mean to get caught. We know that it just happened means I made it happen, step by step, day by day. The tragedy of the cheater is that they spend so much time chasing a feeling of being alive that they kill everything that actually makes life worth living. Intimacy, trust, honor, the quiet comfort of being truly known by another human being.
They trade the gold of deep connection for the glitter of cheap validation. And when the glitter washes off, they are left with nothing but dirty hands and a phone full of deleted messages. So the next time you hear someone say it was a mistake, remember the hand in the dark. Remember the thumb hovering over the screen. Remember the silence. It is not an accident. It is a pattern. It is a learned behavior. It is a series of justifications that allows a person to prioritize their temporary comfort over another person's permanent reality. And until we name it, until we call it what it is, a calculated choice to destroy, we will never understand it. And if we don't understand it, we cannot heal from it. We have to stop accepting the accident narrative. We have to demand the truth, not just from our partners, but from ourselves. Because the pattern of justification doesn't just apply to cheating. It applies to every time we choose the easy lie over the hard truth. But in the realm of love, the cost is highest. Because love is nothing without the safety of truth. Without truth, love is just a shared delusion. And when the glass shatters, when the accident finally happens, it isn't the glass that breaks. It's the person standing next to you. Don't let the pattern win. Recognize the blueprints. Burn the bad logic and build something real.